Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our virtual sacred space, our worship service. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Lancaster, or UUCL as we like to call ourselves. I am Israel. My name is Israel. Some call me Reverend Israel. I am the minister of this congregation and my pronouns are he, him, his, and it is my joy to welcome all of you here this morning to this space together. Come in, sit down, get comfortable. Feel free to turn on your video if you're comfortable and wave hello to each other so you can see each other. We are live streaming on Facebook, but we are only sharing the videos of me essentially today, of people who are talking. Say hello, feel your connection to each other. Even if you've never met each other in person or never met each other at all, you are here together in a space of intentionality together today. You are here together with each other. So I invite you to feel each other's presence and come into this space. We are a progressive spiritual community. We are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Lancaster, and our mission is to come together to nourish the spirit, connect in love, and act for justice. We come together to live lives filled with meaning and purpose and make our world a better place, and to connect with each other and hold each other in love while we do so. And whether this is your first time, 500th time, second time, third time, whatever it is, we are so glad that you are here. We are so glad that you have come back to this space, even though we are not meeting in person. Maybe some of you actually come here despite the fact that we are meeting on Zoom, and maybe some of you come here because you're more comfortable being on Zoom, not having to have the pressure of being in the room with each other. So that's an interesting thing too. We, like I said, are a progressive spiritual community, and we welcome all, no matter who you love, no matter where you are from, no matter how you understand the sacred in your life, or whether you choose to use that word or not. We are people of many backgrounds, many identities, many beliefs, people who move in our perfectly imperfect bodies in different ways. And we celebrate all of who you are, and we learn from each other in this space, and we learn from each other's experiences. And we grow and change and live more beautiful and interesting and meaningful and moving lives because of all that we bring to this space. So I'm going to welcome all of us now into this hour of worship, this sacred hour of turning with intentionality to the things that matter most in our lives and in the world. By lighting a chalice, which is right behind me. The chalice is our symbol of our Unitarian Universalist values. It is for us this morning the point of light in the night sky. Think of it as a point of light in the night sky, a bright burning beacon or a star. Like all of the stars are the points in a constellation. So when we look up into the night sky, we try to make sense of all those different points of light in the sky. And today we draw our attention to one bright light as our beacon, as our focus, as we try to make sense of life together. Now I will light our chalice. May that light be the focal point for us today, this morning. And so, like I said, our focal point, our light this morning is that chalice. And people have been looking up at the night sky for centuries. Human beings have been looking up at the night sky for centuries. And one of the amazing things that human beings do is they make sense out of chaos, out of things that are inherently disorderly. We try to put them in order and make sense of them and make meaning of them. And even though human beings looked at, a few different dots in the night sky and saw, centuries ago saw someone standing there with a sword, or they saw a bull, or they saw a cow, or they saw this and that, and they said, those dots are someone pouring a jug of water. And they made up a story about it, and they made up a story about how it came to be and how it came to be in the night sky there and the different power that it has. Through the power of coming together in spiritual community, we may look at those things today and say that none of those stories are real. That we don't look up at the night sky and we don't see someone pouring a jug of water and another person with a sword. We see stars, we see light, we see hydrogen burning. We may not believe those stories anymore as being real, but we know that the human urge, the human drive to make sense out of chaos, to make sense out of the universe, that the drive to tell stories and to make meaning, we know that there is truth, so much truth behind those stories. Even if they are not real, they may ring true. And so together, we weave a tale, we tell a story, we find truth together. In this cauldron here together of sharing our joys and grief and happiness, of gazing together at the night sky, of not looking away at the heartbreak. We find meaning in all of those things together.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. Rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? What do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that call the connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da la la da da da. La da dee da la dee da doo.
So lovers and dreamers and travelers among the stars here together. This is our community space. It's the place where we bring all of who we are. It is the place where you can bring your joyful heart, your sorrowful heart, and your not quite sure heart, and everything that lies in between. We gather together because we need each other. Because we need each other on this journey of life to make sense, to draw connections, to feel held when we are scared and lonely, to feel like we are not floating alone out in space together. So we gather here at this, what looks like a simple bowl of water, but what is the embodiment, the visual and physical representation of this community. And all that you can hold in these warm, comforting waters. And so I invite you to examine your heart today. Is it hard like stone? Is it warm and soft? Is it brittle and broken? Is it bright and light? Or is it heavy? Or is it somewhere in between and amongst all of those complexities of what it is to be human? So if you bring a joy, a sorrow, a complex truth that you must share, that you need to share, that you need the help of this community to carry, now is your chance to share it with us. I invite you to type it into the chat in 15 words or less, and we will read it aloud for you, and I will place a stone into our well of community for you so that you know that you are held.
Gratitude for my strange and wonderful ministry. Send gratitude to generous, spirited folks in UU community with Ruthie Eshelman, Judy. From Gina, feeling closure after 10 months yesterday, celebrating my dad's life, feeling support and gratitude. For all the teenagers struggling with becoming and complexities of being adults, and to their parents. Prayers for the eradication of COVID and prayers for my husband, Michael's uncle and cousin who passed away from COVID within 2 hours of each other. Gratitude for finding family. From Anastasia, huge gratitude to the Emergent Strategy Book Club. As always, Ryan is on our minds.
for all of the joys, sorrows, complex truths, information, and truths that words simply cannot express, that we all carry, that you all carry in your hearts every day. I place this final stone in our well, nestled in amongst the others that coincidentally, and I did not pick this stone on purpose, it says hope on it. Because that is what community provides for us. A sense of love, connection, and a feeling of hope. For all of those things, I hope you know that you, all of you, every one of you, are seen and heard and loved in this community. And I place you, us, on our altar here next to our chalice. I invite you, all of you, to join me in the spirit of intentionality, togetherness, presence to life, that some call meditation and others call prayer, and others call simply being aware and alive. I invite you to pause, not to pause from living, but to pause and feel yourself, know yourself to be alive and breathing here in this moment. To notice yourself, a body, a collection of cells, molecules, water, and air. You, your body, is made up of mostly water. And that water inside of you is just a passing element. Because yesterday it was rain and thunder, storm cloud. Today it is you. And tomorrow it is a river, it is the ocean. It is rain again. Yet while that water is you, it is not you, because you and your body are so much more than the sum of your component parts. Remember that your choices, your actions, your love outweighs your substance. Your hand is not alive, but the cells that make up it are. But the love that you give with that hand is so much more vibrant and alive and real than any of the singular cells in that hand. So much more enduring anyway. The neurons in your brain that make up your thoughts are electrical and chemical impulses. They're not alive per se, those impulses, even if the cells are. But the thoughts, the memories of the love that you give and receive and experience endure. And so I leave you with a visual meditation. We, us on this world, are merely patterns of relationality existing in time and space. On the left here, the black and white picture is a picture of a depiction of neurochemical activity in a human brain. And on the right, in the purple and different shades of purple and pink, that is a depiction of relationality between galaxies and stars in the known universe, and the way energy passes and in the known universe. And at the bottom is a city at nighttime from space. If you zoom in and zoom out in life, my friends, we find similar patterns of relationality everywhere. That doesn't mean that they are of the same substance, but what it does mean that you, no matter how small or large you are, whether you are merely a cell in some cosmic brain, or whether you are the conscious expression of a human being with all of their wants and loves and desires and fears and hopes, you have the power to contribute to something enduring. Don't forget that.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, and takes away the pain of my soul? When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round, O my soul, O my soul. Friends to me gathered round, O my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and to all friends I will sing. To love and to all friends who pain and sorrows mend, with thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
So, my friends, I'm here this morning to ask you a very simple question that I've asked you before, and maybe you have asked yourself. I hope ask yourself actually every time you come here. And that question is very simply, why are you here? Now you can interpret that in a couple of different ways. Maybe perhaps I'm asking you, why are you here? Why are you alive? Why is there something rather than nothing? How did it come to be that out of the monumental improbability of your own existence, of life even existing, that you are here? That's a pretty big question, one we may not answer exactly precisely in a few minutes in one morning. But I could also be asking you, why are you here? Why did you get yourselves out of bed and make yourselves look presentable, at least this part of you, to show up here in this space and listen to me talk? Or why did you show up to be here with each other and sort of only half listening, half listen to me talk, but feel like you're in community and listen to some moving music and stare out the window and ponder and catch some words, but not all of them. That's okay too. Why are you here? What is it that you showed up seeking to find or seeking to explore or seeking to discover? I like to say, I try to say this every time we gather, that we are gathered here in a space to make some intentional togetherness, to discover what is important in life, to turn our attention to what matters. These are themes that I keep coming back to over and over again in my preaching and my talking and my thinking and my meditating. The fact that all of us, each and every one of you, are terminal. You are all going to die. Today, tomorrow, 20 years from now, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years from now, if you're lucky, all of us are going to die. But it is what we do with this time that we have that is enduring and that matters. And it doesn't matter that we are going to die necessarily, because we have the power to do something and to be here together and to make sense of all of this together while we are alive. And that is what is incredibly beautiful and meaningful. And while you are alive, it's not just about you and your own life and who you are and what you do. It's about who you come together with. That increases the enduring impact of your life. It is community that makes our lives more powerful and more beautiful. As much as we drive each other crazy, as much as we can't stand being with each other sometimes, as much as we wish we could be alone sometimes, that we still show up here together. There are 72 screens on this Zoom call right now, because you came here because you thought you were going to find something valuable in gathering together with other people. You came to seek some kind of a spiritual impulse with others, not just you could have gone for a walk this morning and looked at the beautiful leaves, the color changing on the trees, but you chose to come here. You can do both, that's true. So why are we here together? Let's start with the story, maybe perhaps, of why many of us end up in a Unitarian Universalist space rather than some other spiritual or religious space. Many of us, myself included, end up in these spaces because we rejected some other kind of belief. Because we grew up in some tradition that we determined didn't encourage our questions, didn't encourage our curiosity, didn't embrace us for who we were, didn't quite work or fit or allow us to be ourselves, didn't quite something. And so we rejected something. Now, this may not be all of you. I know this is not all of you. Some of you grew up UU and you stayed because you found it valuable. But many of us end up here because we weren't quite satisfied with something else. And we UUs, in general, tend to be very good at saying what we do not believe. We tend to be very good at saying what we rejected, of affirming what we rejected, of affirming what didn't work. And we fall short sometimes, I think, in affirming what does matter, what we do believe in, what ground we exist on, so to speak. And sometimes that makes the ground fall out from us. Now, ours is not a neat faith. It's not a neat tradition to easily package up our beliefs and say this is what we believe. In fact, it can be kind of terrifying to be a UU because we leave so many things open for questioning. So sometimes it's important to try to think and meditate on and spend some time with what is our center that holds us together. Because in the world, out there when we take a moment to remember that we are nothing but dirt or dust in this universe. That every atom, every element in your body was once born of, except for the hydrogen in your body, was once born in a dying star. And that has been recycled over and over again in the universe. The atoms in your body were once garbage. They may have once been beautiful art, excrement, or gold. That the stars are your ancestors. And you are their stardust progeny. It's important to remember that while we are dust, we are still magical dust. That while you are dirt, you are miraculous dirt. You are fabulous dirt. So my magical, fabulous dirt dust friends, we come together to ask ourselves, to find our center by asking simply, I propose to you, how can we use this miraculous and improbable and dusty existence to bless this world with our actions? To answer this question, posed by Edward Everett Hale, when he said, it's not really a question, but to respond to this, it said, I am only one. I am only one. But I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything myself. That's my addition. But I can do something, and we can do something together. And because we cannot do everything and fix everything and save the whole world, we will not refuse to save the one small part of it that we can. Like I said before, you are dust, but your choices, your enduring values, and the love that you give and receive endures. Your choices, your life outweighs your substance. And my friends, we gather in community, I put out for you right now, to remind ourselves that though we are pieces of dust, we are many pieces of dust. And the power of one piece of dust increases when we come together. So, for some of us, some of this is present in the tension between the spiritual and the religious. And what do I mean by that? So I have a little visualization for you. So some of us really don't like this word religious, and some of us are cool with it, and that's okay. But the reason I'm using it this morning to illustrate a point. So many of us who show up in these spaces before we showed up, and maybe even while we're still here, might say that we are spiritual but not religious. Some people I've actually heard say that they are religious but not spiritual, which is interesting. But there is a distinction between those words, and I just want to present one distinction between them that is actually illustrated by a triangle. The words aren't backwards, are they? I hope not. Okay. Sometimes the camera flips things on me. So we show up here because there's a tension between what we can do alone versus what we can do together, and how coming together makes what we do more powerful and more transcendent, perhaps, and more impactful. So this is something called the covenant triangle. And it was created by a UU called Natalie Briscoe. And it's used to illustrate how we relate to our core values and each other. And so down here, well, actually, let's start up at the top. So up at the top, we have our values. The values are the things that we care about. When I say we come together to talk about the things that are most important to us, that we care about, the enduring things, that the actions, not our substance, but our actions, the enduring things, love, justice, connection, community, all of those things that we say we care about. Up at the top here, we have our values. And then at the bottom, we have me or you, the singular existence of us, your speck of dust. And then over here, we have we, us together, a clump of dust. And if we look at the relation between you or the singular and your values, that's the spiritual impulse. That's the things that you do in your life to cultivate connection to the things that you care about. So that might be, meditating, things like that. And then the we is how we come together to relate to our values, to reflect upon our values. And that could be seen as the religious impulse by some people. How we come together in worship, how we do collective justice work, how community life can help us to transform and truly connect to the things that we care about. And then here on the bottom, we have simply the ways that we just simply relate to each other. That's when we come together in community and we say hello, and maybe we talk to each other and we get to know one another. Now, all of this is just a triangle that shows different relationships. But the thing that I think makes this truly transcendent and important is that it's called a covenant triangle. Let me write this down here. Covenant. And that is the thing that holds all of these things together. I have terrible handwriting, sorry. That is the thing that holds all of these things together. It is the enduring value of what it really truly means to be together. It's the promises that we make to ourselves of how we want to live in the world, how we want to uphold our values, and it's the promises we make to each other about how we're going to be together. Because it's super easy, I think, sometimes to identify what are the things that you care about. It's super easy to say that love is a great value that you care about. That's for me. It's super easy for me to say that. It's super easy for me to get up here and talk to you about it and say that. And it's another thing to go out into the world and to live it and to really truly practice it. That's kind of what I mean when I say that it is the actions, it is the love that we give and receive that endures rather than the substance of something. I can draw a heart with the ink on this marker and visualize it, or I can make some sound and put it out into there and hear you say, love is the greatest gift of all, and love is what I care about. But to truly embody it with my whole person, with my whole body, with my life, to make that promise that I'm going to do that thing and embody that thing and be that thing with you and with the world, that's really hard. And it takes a lot of practice. It takes a great promise, which is what covenant it is the promise that we are going to do that together. And the reason that it's a promise is because that's an acknowledgement that we're going to screw it up all the time, that we're going to mess it up. And that's why maybe we need to draw it and imprint it on things and have it be there as a reminder, because drawing it doesn't make it true, doesn't make it real, doesn't make it so, but is the act, I submit to you, of being together with other people to practice that over and over and over again and point out when we fall short. That's where the value comes in. That's what makes being in community so powerful. the fact that we actually have to, so we come here and we actually have to trust. We have to trust that someone else is going to still love us even when we screw up. It's pretty alone and scary out there. But if we can actually do that for each other, if we can actually trust that we will still love each other even when we screw up. If you can actually do that, if you can actually love someone even when they screw up, that's a pretty amazing thing. So, the power of being together, the reason that we come together, I submit to you, is because being together in community is a way to actually put into practice the values that we say are so important. And we do it together in a congregation, in a church, in a congregation, or whatever you'd like to call it, in a community, this community, because we do it with people that we didn't necessarily pick. So like you, in your social circles, you might pick your friends and you choose who you want to hang out with. But in a congregation, we're kind of stuck with each other. I mean, you can leave, sure. Some people do leave, that happens. But when you come in here, you kind of never quite know who you're going to find, and we're kind of stuck with each other. We didn't necessarily pick each other as friends, but we're sort of a little microcosm of the world, or at least our corner of the world in our own way. And we actually have to practice putting into effect what we say we believe to show love to the people that end up in our community together. That's a kind of cool thing too. So, what wisdom can I leave you with this morning to summarize everything I've said? I'll say this, that the religious life, the communal spiritual life, is not about the universe or God or the truth, fundamental truth of the universe and its relationship to us. Its response to us. It's not about some outside force responding to us and blessing us. Because I personally believe that the universe is more or less indifferent to any of our singular specks of dust. That's just me. But the religious or the communal spiritual life is about our response to the truth and the pain and the suffering and the love and the joy of the world. It's our response to the fact that we are dust and one day we will die. But we come together knowing that the stakes of life are way too high for us to take it seriously. We come together to savor this thing we call life, to not cling too hard to it because one day we will lose it. The ultimate lesson of love in life is that we choose to love something fiercely, with humor, even though we know that one day we will lose it. That we choose to bless the world, even though it may be indifferent to us sometimes. That we choose to love something, even though one day we will lose it, but we love it fully and selflessly, over and over again. There's your meaning of life for today.
We take
Amen.
an offering as an outward expression of our interdependence. We share half of our offering this month with the Lancaster Education Foundation to fund projects that support educational excellence in the school district of Lancaster. You can support our work as you are able by texting the amount of your donation to the number on the screen or through our Contribute tab on the website, where you can find it in the chat.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Our service has ended. Go out and do the hard work of doing the stuff that we just talked about now.